Hey, how's it going? Today's video is going to be one of those shooting the breeze kind of videos. I'm going to be going over generically about what I like or what I've been disliking inside of things going on with Nobara, or as a Linux thing as a whole, for everything that I've been encountered so far from using Linux as a daily driver since, well, October. So yeah, let's have some fun with this. Welcome to Vensire Studios, and let's get this started. As usual, the chapters will be listed in the description below, along with any relevant links. So, yeah, a little while ago, I went through an entire video on how to get Nobara Linux fully installed as your own system and everything else, and all the generics that seem to work perfectly, well, generally fine from, you know, basic office work to drivers. But we're going to touch upon the drivers a little bit more this time, because though I love what they give you and usually things kind of working, this is where I'll come down to a little bit of a gripe. Like, here's my NVIDIA graphics drivers. It makes it simple. You just click on it, you tell it to install, and you can do the same for the hardware packages, and that makes it pretty easy and nice. The problem I come across is when you come down to certain third-party devices that don't necessarily have repositories. Like, I have a Razer keyboard. There's OpenRazer to use with it, and I use this to control my lighting and so forth, along with polling rate. But I also have a Decklink mini monitor 4K out. Whenever there is a kernel update, this gets hosed. I have to uninstall the official drivers for it and then reinstall it. Why? I'm actually not quite sure. Like, I've checked for services, I've checked for restart of the service and everything else like that. It directly tells me there's no service for it. So something is getting completely hosed with this. I didn't see this in Bougie. It might have been because I was on the LTS version also, so kernel updates are fewer and far between. But yeah, every single time I've had kernel update, even though I love how fast they spin these things out, especially if you're, say, there's a security vulnerability and so forth. Like there was recently from, like, I think it was like 7.03. You had to be updated to like 7.06 at least or higher for covering certain vulnerability. But yeah, this just gets hosed and I have to reinstall it each and every single time. Now, this is just something to take note on doing stuff on here. The next thing I already went over from my previous video is printers. Printers overall, love it. If I go into, I'm gonna have to go into settings for this. So let's bring up settings. Let's go to printers, and you'll see these two are fully set up on here. As I went through the initial setup of Nobara, the Epson worked immediately. And here's the downside: some printers maybe won't work immediately. Now, HP has open source drivers. They specifically provide them and make it kind of easy for it. It's called HP Lips? Or is it Lips? It's Lips. I think just type in HP should work. So it does come with this one, HP Lip. Is this the graphical tool? The image processor provides drivers for HP printers, multifunction, blah, blah, blah. But there's one of these two doesn't get installed here. It might be this one. Yeah, this one says it's the GUI. If you install this one, maybe it will just work right out of the box. But to make it simpler for you, I would recommend installing the graphics tool, because then just like when you install it on, say, Windows for certain printers and so forth, this will help you at least verify and guarantee you get their official driver for it, and in order for you to print directly to it. So it's a little bit of a catch there, but this printer doesn't work on Windows unless you download the, you know, installer and install it directly anyway, from anything I have ever seen from it. So it's the same thing. This next one, though, is probably going to be my biggest gripe, and it deals with networking. I'm going to show a direct example of what I am talking about here. So I go to network, I go to my SMB, because this is the kind of way that Elijah initially would have done it, I believe, from his first run through. This isn't showing my thing right now, so that's also fun. Usually it shows up everything without a problem, but this time it's like, nah. Why'd I type that in? That's not the right one. So here we go. Now I'm inside. I'm inside the storage, right? So we can go back. So I'll go back. And this is the test I did for this video. I know you can't attach there. Now, why aren't you going to mine official one? See what I mean by sometimes there's issues? I'm gonna put this in here and paste it in here. All right, now let's grab this and try to put it into Handbrake. Poof. Crash. That doesn't work. Now, I'm gonna bring this back up. And I'm gonna show you, as you can see on the left side here, SSD main is right here also. I'm gonna drag the same file over and put it in here. And as you see, it fully loads up. I can then go ahead and export it out, set it to where I want it. That includes to network drives or on a local storage or something like that, and just have it in code. There won't be a single issue with it. And that is because, like on the challenge to export something to a network drive, it is because I modified the FS tab that was brought up by Elijah when he went to do it himself, and that is inside what, root etc. Is it right here? Let's see if I remembered it. FS. Yep, here it is. So if I open this up, you can see down here I've got everything added on here. But in order to get this up and running, as I pointed out on a video on how to generically do this, you're going to have to get installed CIFS. This in general doesn't seem to be natively installed directly on Linux. Not on here, Nobara, and from what I'm understanding, maybe not for GNOME type desktop setups environments either. The only one I've personally seen it fully generically working was Bougie, where I could literally go inside my network drive. Granted, each time I accessed it, I did have to confirm my username and password, but I could literally just then drag and drop it, and I could share it and bookmark it onto the side or something like that inside my Explorer that I was using on Nemo or whatever else. That was the only one that it just like straight up went, yeah, cool, we just work. And others is just like, no, you're gonna have to go through these more advanced ways of getting it done. It took me a while to get it set up myself because I needed it working. I need it working. I need to be able to access my NAS and so forth in order to get things edited up for stuff I'm doing for clients. But yeah, if you haven't seen that video, check it out. It'll be on the card and of course in the description below. Gaming. What can be said about it? It has come an extremely long way. Most stuff in general just works on it. Even if it's not listed on like ProtonDB or something, odds are it'll just work. And in fact, another thing to bring up is as Elijah said, certain codecs weren't working and so forth, and you had to install the glorious egg rolls version, which you can see that you can find it right in this tool here, Proton Plus, because, well, I'm pretty sure that the person who primarily made Nobara, he is the glorious egg rolls, isn't he? Or like one of the major contributors to it. But yeah, you don't need this anymore. The latest Proton experimental from Valve, codecs just work. Found that out with PAX Day when loading it up, and at least seems all great. Except for, of course, that one elephant in the room, which kernel level anti-cheat doesn't work directly on here. EA is looking to get Javelin working on Linux. I don't know how they plan on exactly implementing it, but I guess we'll see in time. But it shows that EA is realizing certain things, you know, the writing's on the wall, that maybe we should get this working on a system that we're not sure how much more people they're gonna get on it. But yeah, we'll see as it all goes along. I expect it to come sooner or later anyway at this point in time, but we don't know what kind of form it'll actually take. Video editing inside Linux. It actually kind of annoyed me that they didn't try Shotcut. I haven't done any editing inside it for a while now myself, so it's overall a pretty simple-ish kind of editor, you could say, but they work on this rigorously, and last I knew is it's supposed to be updated every single month. And I don't know if it's still the same way they do it or so forth, but it's got a lot of tools and whatnot, makes it easy to not what I was trying to do, for you to jump around, cut around, and so forth to do the editing, including full color wheel, color grading, and so forth, you can say. I haven't seen the histograms on here. I don't know. I haven't used this in a long time, but everything I've seen is it's great. It's got tons of presets for exporting, including for like DVD creation. I used to do it for MPEG-2 or DVD for a client years ago, and for her show and whatnot, which went out locally in my area, and I was actually shocked at how well it did all of that. In fact, the DVD exporting and so forth was 100% compatible with, like, say, burning a DVD directly from DVD Architect, which is a DVD creation program I used to use quite a bit for making DVDs and actual Blu-rays themselves also. But yeah, my issue is Davinci Resolve. Davinci Resolve, in general, works great. Ish. If you have the studio version, you got full H.264.5 AV1 decoding via your graphics card, as long as your graphics card can support those formats. AAC, the biggest issue is audio. AAC will not work because obviously they don't have licensing for it inside Linux. The AI, I've dabbled and messed with the AI, what's it called? It's the AI voice thing for you to train a model to learn a person's voice and so on and so forth. That one doesn't work in here, seems to be a permissions issue. Okay, fine. You know, it's not the biggest deal breaker for me. The text-to-speech one does work for Davinci Resolve 21. And my only other gripe is VSTs not being able to be used inside here. My VSTs fully are up and running inside Carla. I don't have a single problem with them, but apparently not inside Davinci Resolve. So if they could get that updated and changed around, that would be kind of cool, and I'd never have to go to Windows again for any kind of editing if I need to do some voice editing for an actor or something. My only other things I could kind of bring up on here are my finalized kind of thoughts in here. They're just like little nitpicks, you could say, or so forth. OBS, overall, I've gotten 100% set up for my scenes and so forth when I'm streaming. That doesn't seem to be a major problem, and obviously my webcam works great from my camera and my cam link. That's not an issue. My only annoyance is, I think it was Luke who brought it up in the last kind of like their finalized thoughts for the Linux challenge currently, and that is sources. If I set up a source for a specific game, I shouldn't have to re-find that game every single time I load it up. He's not the only one that's griped about it. I believe other people have as well, where it's kind of annoying. The Linux experiment. I think he was the one who brought it up about having to refine the sources every single time for Wayland. It's maybe just the way the Wayland environment is. It's not the biggest deal. Again, it takes like 10 seconds max, 30 seconds at the longest to just quickly click through and just select it or whatever else, and so forth. But it would be cool if they could fix that, please. Maybe get something so it doesn't ask every single time. At least if you're on the desktop. If you just have it capture the desktop, please just don't ask it every single time. But it works. I stream, I record in H.2, 6, 4, and 5, and things like that. Linus and Elijah had a problem with the codecs, I believe. But I made a video going over that. Did I? Maybe I just mentioned it in the Linux challenge one. I think maybe it's just that's what I did. I'll maybe show a dedicated video on that if I bump into the issue again. If I bump into the issue again, I'll make that video. But yeah, usually you don't have to do it, especially if like for Nobara itself wasn't a problem. Everything just overall worked until I got to kernel level 7 and I was forced to find out how to fix it. But it wasn't overly difficult. It just took like half an hour or so reading through forums and things and driving myself a little crazy. And for the last thing I'll bring up is audio routing. I should double check when this program came out, because as you can see directly here, other than I'm back on my Behringer 404HD, because thank you Windows or Focusrite, one of you has an audio issue, but either or, you can see how I have everything routed in here. Here's all my inputs. On the left side are extras. These are just extra stuff that pops up depending on what you're doing, especially if you like mess with the audio settings. These will usually just pop on up. And then these are my these are my VSTs I use for, well, OBS and anything else I'm working with, and it overall works great. I haven't had any real massive issues with it, and it pipes it wherever you want it to go. My only gripe, and I brought it up before, is I wish it had a way, some kind of remembrance of where you got things hooked up. Like, if I exit out OBS, I wish it retained memory of me using this and it doesn't go away. Because if I was to close this out, it'll go away. So, again, I could just bring up the video that I have here, and you can see here's Haruna. So if I close that out, it goes away instantly. So if they had a thing where it'll retain what programs you had open, where you had them routed, that would make this thing absolutely golden, and it would be the most beautiful thing I think we could be using inside of Linux for the routing of the audio itself. But yeah, I love how this goes overall. There are some nitpicks and so forth because nothing's perfect. Same thing can be said about Windows though. Again, here's my Focusrite. Works perfectly in Linux with my Focusrite Solo 4th gen or my 18i8 I have for the 3rd gen. And inside Windows, the audio interface loses audio on Windows and it just disappears. And I can't have that happening when I'm working with stuff with clients, like I did with my last one. And I actually ported the whole project over into Linux, and we finished it in here instead. But yeah, like I said, this was kind of like just shooting the breeze, me babbling my mouth off and so forth. I'm definitely gonna be sticking with Linux as my daily driver for pretty much everything I'm doing, and I'm not swapping off of it anytime soon in the foreseeable future because it just seems to work great. Last thing, using other versions of Linux, I have bumped into issues at times. Manjaro was one of them where eventually it was widely known that after a certain number of major updates, NVIDIA graphics users would just be borked. It doesn't seem to be an issue now. I used to have Manjaro on for a little while on my laptop, and every single update seemed to work great. But I have run into other issues on dependencies, things getting installed properly, having issues with things after an update where it'd say, oh, we have an error, something crashed out or so forth, and would you like to report it? That happened on Bougie quite a bit. That is something I've loved about Nobara right here. So this is my final thought on here, is I love how Nobara handles updates, and it seems to double check and triple check things to make sure that it is working great. Before kernel patch 7 was launched, it was showing an update to OpenRazor and polychromatic. Can I go to about? Here we go. I think it might have been this version or maybe one version before it, but it was showing it to update it, but it would not update it. And once I got updated to version 7 on the kernel and they had the full, update for all of that, then it would install the update. It would not install it before then, and that's because I'm guessing that version was specifically made for kernel version 7, so there's checks on it. I haven't seen that, honestly, on certain other distros. So I'm sure there are. This mainly follows the Cache branch on a lot of things. So with Cache OS, I'm pretty sure, at least I'm guessing, tell me if I'm wrong in the comment section, that Cache OS itself probably does its own internal checks as well to make sure things are not getting installed and getting ahead of it if it shouldn't be installed on the system. But yeah, I love how rock solid this has absolutely been overall, other than those little gripes that I was bringing up and so forth. But yeah, now I don't want to go off and start rambling more and so forth. So like the video if you liked it. You didn't, you know what to do. If you have any comments, questions, or suggestions, leave them in the comment section below. If you like the content on here, hit that subscribe button. And if you're already subscribed, thank you for supporting the channel. I'll catch you all next time. Bye.